this summer. Continuing forward, Pochettino was dismissive of set piece specialists, insists we are coaching staff in charge of everything, before later adding, football belongs to the players, not the specialists. What a fucking moron. Okay, that was at odds with the structure being built by Chelsea's owners and sporting directors, who have made it abundantly clear they believe football belongs to the players and the specialists, according to Matt Law. Fabrizio Romano here saying the feeling internally at Chelsea was that not all people at the club were on the same page on confirming Mauricio Pochettino, and this is why they parted ways. The dressing room quite surprised at Mauricio Pochettino's departure today, as the expectation was he would continue at the club. Obviously, we had Cole Palmer, we had Nicholas Jackson, so on and so forth, kind of, on their own socials express their, feelings on the departure. Nicholas Jackson being, highlighted, as he made it very clear he wasn't happy with the decision. Chelsea had concerns over tactics, and before the end of the season review, one well-placed source privately described his training methods as antiquated. Mauricio Pochettino was not going to be given more control over signings. Mauricio Pochettino fell short of securing Champions League spot craved by Chelsea owners after their massive outlays on transfers. And David Ornstein himself here reporting, it seems Chelsea will go for these newer breed of exciting managers that play a good style of football with an identity that fits into their structure and connects with the fan base. A good record of keeping players fit and available also improves them. I think we will know soon. By the way, people, pay attention to this part as well. Keeping players fit and available. We continue on here with Euro Expert. I thought this was an interesting pros and cons list that I will go over afterwards. But before we even go over this, let's actually take a moment to really catch up with everything that was just said. Ladies and gents, my 2 cents in this whole thing, I'm surprised it happened. I'll be honest. I thought Mauricio Pochettino had done just enough to get himself time for next season. But the club have standards. The club, and you know what? I got to give credit to the ownership for this one. They recognize that where we were on the table doesn't give context to what happened this whole season. And there was a lot of analysis done on the season. I'll try to find the tweets that Iqbali apparently came out with the receipts, pointing out this is your big chances missed, amount of injuries, all this, the XG, everything came out, man. Everything came out in a discussion between Iqbali and Mauricio. And obviously, I'm going to look for more tweets. But at the end of the day, I'm a little nervous for what the future holds, but I'm not upset. I think we all I don't think any of us expected that Mauricio Pochettino was going to be the long-term answer here. And so for me, it's kind of, it was going to happen either this season or it was going to happen in the middle of next season. Because even the last game against Bournemouth, it looked like we were kind of reverting back to old ways with Pochettino. I wasn't very happy with that. I thought we had turned a new leaf, and it just wasn't looking very, very optimistic in that sense. But at the end of the day, listen, we'll talk about the managerial picks and what our thoughts are about that. But right now with Pochettino, a lot has been said on why he parted ways. People want to say he got sacked, but it seems every outlet is saying that they mutually disagreed and they just parted ways.
Probably the last one saying that.
I mean, maybe. I think they weren't afraid to say Potter got sacked last season. So I don't think they would shy away from it.
But from a PR perspective, everyone could see that he was cooked. You know what I'm saying to you? The only difference now is just that he decided to win 5 games at the end of the season, and that changed the dynamic apparently for everyone that was watching apparently to be watching. But
exactly, not the owners though. They held up a standard.
Yeah. The one thing I have to say, and this when it comes to this pot out stuff that's confusing me is this. You said it yourself towards the end, yeah. If you don't believe he's going to succeed, next season, and he's probably going to be out of the door October, November-ish. Why are we keeping him?
Hmm.
Why should we keep him? You know what I'm saying to you? There's no point. Literally, all you're doing is you're moving it further along. You're probably going to reduce the number of managerial options you can get at that moment in time. You're making it even harder on yourself. Yeah, you're then going to have a bunch of new players that probably are going to be coming in, probably 3 or 4 more new players coming in. It's just, for me, it's just illogical to be keeping him again if you already have these issues anyway. So why I would decide to sack him in October and not, sack him now, or like just tell him I'm finishing.
That's the thing. That's the thing I want to clarify, right? You're saying sack, and although you maybe believe he's been sacked, I don't think he's actually been sacked.
I'm talking about in October. I'm not talking about when I say sacked. I'm talking about.
I get that. But like the reason you say that, right, and the reason you're saying if you don't think he's going to be the guy for the future, then why not sack him earlier? I think genuinely the ownership planned on giving him next season. But they didn't expect him to actually go out and be like, listen, guys, based on everything you said to me, I don't think I'm the guy going forward.
No. They knew he was going to say that beforehand because look at the article.
How did they know? How do they know?
Do you not read? Have you not read that?
It's conducted press conferences.
In the press
conducted press conferences.
No. What he was saying in the press conferences, the players that he was asking for that we rejected. So I don't know if you read in that. They said they reported they asked for 2 experienced players from his past to bring into the football club, by the way.
Oh, I'll try to get the Athletic article in a minute.
So
sorry, I've been catching up with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So they clearly knew the stuff that he wanted way beforehand, right? And there's even so for me, I'm going to be honest. A lot of this, by the way, is just on the sporting directors. Like some of the stuff that's come out from that article, even though it may be slightly PR-ish, take it obviously with a pinch of like a bit of salt, of course, but. It's on them for bringing them in. Either he catfished them or they're not smart enough to be sporting directors to begin with. But the point I'm trying to make, if you're gonna sack him in October, November, and you don't believe he's gonna succeed next season, why are you deciding to keep him? Simple as that, really.
I mean, what's the rest of the panel think about that?
I mean,
What did he say?
I said rip and bozo.
Yeah, man. That's what it is, man. Let's be real, bro. Imagine, I'm just talking about those 2 players. Imagine if you decided to bring Danilo Pereira to the club. I can see that happening, Imagine if
How do you know it's Danilo Pereira?
Tall, can play the number 6 role. Can play centre back too. You never know, bro. That's in his past. So that's a fast
but if
player.
you go and look at most of the players, like, I'll be real, there are so many players. And I told people this, by the way. I said when it comes to giving managers more control, they'll go and sign people they've worked with. And lo and behold, my man wanted players that he'd worked with. But yeah, like, we don't know who he's going to sign. Like, for all we know, those 2 experienced players could have been anyone from Neymar and Messi to friggin' Ben Davies and like Wanyama.
Imagine if you went to Eric Dyer, guys. Oh my god.
I mentioned Wanyama on the stream the other day. Like, he's not playing right now. Like, in Montreal, he's not playing. So, like, he's available.
Oh my god, I'm reading some of this stuff right now. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy's a clown. This guy's actually a fucking clown.
He's not a clown.
No, I'm not a clown.
He's not a clown. He is not a clown, and because we knew who this guy was when we brought him in. The sporting director should have known as well. It's on them. It's not. It's not.
Mauricio Pochettino privately questioned whether Enzo Fernandez was destructive enough to be a number 6 or creative enough to be a number 8. Are you fucking kidding me?
Remind us who his number 10 was.
No, don't worry. I don't know why people are angry because it's expected. Like, when I was speaking to some Spurs fans, they were telling me similar things. So, like, the sport is on the sporting directors and the choice they made. They know the type of guy he was.
I'm sorry, no. You are not absolving Poch. This sounds like you're absolving Poch.
I'm not.
I'm sorry. Most of this was not to be expected. Okay, I'm sorry. That's a bullshit answer. You're saying it's not to be expected. Okay, it's not to be expected at all. All right, coming to do a job. He knew what it was about. They thought he probably might have evolved and something like that, and he hadn't. Okay, Poch's reputation was built up at Spurs. You heard a few things here and there, but not to this extent whatsoever. All right. So to think that, oh yeah, it's to be expected, blah blah blah, that's rubbish. Absolute rubbish right there. All right.
I agree because I think what all of us expected from Pochettino was a semblance of what we saw towards the end, the final games, and to an extent, that's what we were told, or that's what we were displayed was going to happen. We all saw the preseason. We all saw the type of football that he was playing, and we were impressed for the most part. We looked like we were going to play more dynamic, more attacking football. Defensively, we didn't see the frailties yet. And we were sold a dream. We were sold a dream. And Pochettino, for whatever reason, which we'll get into because I'm seeing this Athletic articles right now. For whatever reason, Pochettino decided, hey, I'm going to try something else. So it wasn't what was expected.
And also, sorry, to add on to this, there's certain narratives that follow him around, right? Like everyone's going to be like, oh, he managed PSG. PSG is a mess. Look at Tuchel. He left PSG and won it with us. And everyone with the narrative would be like, he was in Spurs. Look at it. He tried his best. And for 2 years, he wasn't back. That was the narrative in England, right? Because the English media loves Poch. That's the thing too. So I can get why the sporting directors thought that way, because they're like, oh, this is the guy who's going to develop young players. He went to 2 clubs, didn't succeed. But, PSG is a mess, so who cares? Because, that. And then Spurs, he did his best and didn't get financial backing. But don't worry, in this club, you will get the financial backing you need in terms of quality of players and, getting them and so on and so forth. And you can develop them. I think that was the mandate.
And that's the thing. Go ahead, Server.
The thing is this. It's everything is laid out there, right? Everything's laid out.
True.
You might think, like you say, can we really take from PSG? Because look, we got Tuchel from PSG and we won the Champions League. They could look back and go, it's not the same. Ancelotti was at PSG. Emery was at PSG. Stuff like that. So do we put an asterisk beside that because it's PSG, right? Most people will think that, right? But there's no way when you're in that interview, there's no way he would have gotten in my mind, there's no way you give him a job if he sets out to do, or if he tells you he's going to do what he did. Right?
Yeah.
If he said, oh, by the way, I'll play people out of position. I'll make your players that you bought look rubbish. I'll constantly injure your players. I'll force them back early. I'll injure half the squad. I won't have a style of football, consistent style of football.
I don't trust Enzo Fernandez.
Then I'll give you 5 good games at the end, which weren't all good anyway. Burnley and Brighton and Forest were crap. We were crap against Brighton and Forest. We escaped with Forest with our lives right at the end because he brought on some subs and just threw the kitchen sink at it. Because his great tactics were to play Reece James and Gusto on the right. So, wasn't it? That's what I'm talking about.
Right wing Gusto, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
It's fucking insane.
Guys, I saw Caicedo left wing. I never thought I'd be seeing Caicedo.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
And you know what else?
Remember, if everyone doesn't know the first time Frank was in charge, Frank Lampard. If anyone doesn't know my breaking point with Frank Lampard, is when we lost 3-1 to the worst Arsenal team under Arteta. Yeah. And the image of Tammy Abraham crossing the ball to N'Golo Kante in the middle, and I just broke like that. That was This could be multiple times under Poch. Do you know what I mean? And just before anyone says anything, because they'll probably miss it and say, "Why are you blaming the owners and directors?" Bro, I think clearly they went far enough yesterday. The directors should have gone as well, or they should have been demoted and a new sporting director comes in to oversee everything. That's what, and that's on the owners as well. The owners and directors have my full attention now because it's their time.
100%.
Their time. So for anyone in this chat goes, why are you blaming me? Trust me, everyone in this panel has at times, multiple times this season, blamed the directors and the ownership, and all 100%. Of our focus is on them because they have to get this right.
Let me ask you something, Surfer. do you think that the recruitment and the directors, when Stanley, Lawrence Stewart, do you think they were saved by Poch last minute? If Poch had not finished in Europe, and statistically they went from 12th to 10th, do you think that last 5 games actually saved their ass? Because they managed to statistically get the call right, and we have improved since last season.
I think in the broadest of headlines, it saved them and the focus off them and more on Poch. Because you could then go to Poch. So you're telling me that you just had to invert a fullback who you've had all season nearly with no injuries for us to play well? Is that what we're saying? We just had to do that tactical tweak. Is that what we're saying? Essentially, you finished 5 points behind Villa and Spurs, or points who neither one of them wanted that top 4 space in the end. It was like who's going to drop them the least amount of drop them more points. So you're telling me you couldn't do that five games before, or even with the Arsenal game included. And it's like this fan base makes me sick all the time. Parts of this fan base after Arsenal, get him out, get him out, get him out, get him out. He's got to go. He's got to go. 5 games later. Maybe he's done enough. Maybe he's done enough to earn things. It's just starting to click. It's starting to click.
Exactly. I hate this fan base so much. So many of you people in the fan base are such bitches. I'm on Team Scott now.
Speaking of which, hey Vic, when I told you it's a when, not if, when. Hey, I win. I was right. Acknowledge me. Acknowledge me.
Vic,
Can I say,
most of us
it's
might
kinda
hear
disgusting.
Acknowledge me. Some people hear Vic.
Marshall, can I say, bro?
Get on your knees.
Marshall, can I say something? Yeah?
Hey,
It's so
yo.
disgusting. I was calling for this guy to get sacked in October, November, December. The one time I don't think he's gonna get sacked.
Listen,
it got switched. The script
Yeah.
got switched, bro. It's actually nasty.
listen, man. I'm telling you, your feelings are not feeling. Probably go ahead, and then I'm gonna read these athletic tweets.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Good Lord, how long is the delay? Jesus Christ!
What's this, man? You got 5 minutes.
I didn't even delay. I took a breath. Relax, Andrew.
Slow breathing, Fredo.
Jesus Christ. Do you know Andrew only speaks over the black people? Relax, Andrew.
I'm from Trinidad, so I'm allowed.
Yeah, but you only speak over the Africans. You only speak over
I'm the Cole Palmer of this panel. I'm Cole Palmer of this panel.
Prime, I see
you're
the picture,
Irish.
bro.
You're Irish though, Prime, so it doesn't count for you.
Let's
You're
not
Irish.
argue amongst ourselves. Tonight is about celebrating. It's about celebrating. Okay? Listen, we might have our different viewpoints. Ahmed's a Palace fan. Marshall is seasonal. We all have our arguments, but ultimately, we won. This manager, I've not defended at all while he's been here. While people got fooled by the Fugazi preseason, I remember coming out and saying, I don't get why you guys are getting gas for. It's just a bunch of NPCs running about. First game of the season, people try to gaslight me and tell me it's a back three. It's a back three. And I told people, Chilwell's playing left wing and Colwell's at left wing. We saw Gallagher play DM while Enzo played as a 10. We saw Gallagher play as a 10 the majority of the season. I've seen Gallagher play left wing. I've seen the Sassy at right back. I've seen Gilchrist at right back when we have a right back in our academy. I've seen Gusto play left back. I've seen Kukurea play right back. I've seen Maatsen play right wing. But you guys will still defend this manager because of a little 5-game purple patch. It's honestly embarrassing. Chelsea fans love to talk about standards as a club. Where are your standards? You guys have no right. You guys have no right to ever defend Pochettino. If there's one time to ever do agendas, It should be now. Mauricio Pochettino. My gal. Okay, whatever. Fat.
I'll read the super chat. Thank you, Fats, for the £4.99 super chat. Prime got his Italian gal watching him. He's nervous.
And I could speak on Fator, but tonight is not about exposing Fator and his German woman. Tonight is about celebrating the terrorists being dead. So I'll continue. Anyway,
Jesus Christ.
He's
not dead. Did you say dead? He's not dead.
Dang. Marshall. In my mind, he is. Anyways, the tactical incompetency I've seen all season. Our inability to defend set pieces. I remember, Marshall, we had this discussion. Was it the Burnley game or Sheffield United? That goal where you wanted to say Petrovic, and I said, we've seen this all season. It's not Petrovic's fault. It's been happening all season. Us being able to not defend set pieces. How woeful we've been defensively. Is this not our worst? The worst we've been defensively in the Premier League era. Know how embarrassing that is. 1-0 Chelsea, park the bus Chelsea, having the worst defense. How bad that is. People wanted to say, but he improved Palmer. Palmer's not had a run of games to show that he's actually improved enough before coming to Chelsea. Let's just be. The amount of injuries we've had. Listen, Fat James and Chilwell, they're injury prone, so who cares about them? But Gusto being injured, Lavia being.
Why is it always Reece getting straight, bro? What's going
He's
on?
just catching strays.
It's crazy, man.
Injured. Lavia being injured, Gusto being injured, and Cuckoo coming back and is injured and getting injured again. Listen, I'm glad the guy's gone. He did not deserve the second season. There are so many quality managers available right now. The owners
hold off, Ahmed. Hold off.
Set up like they've what?
No, not you. I was just telling Ahmed to hold on because I need to read these tweets.
They are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the owners have set up in terms of like what they, in terms of style of play, what sort of profile of manager they're looking for, and what we're trying to do going forward. That's all I've been asking for since last season when we were looking for a manager a year ago. What do you guys want as a profile, or in terms of our style of play? They've figured that out. It's now easier to find a manager and go moving forward. Chelsea fans, don't get dragged into the fear-mongering the media is trying to do. They're going to link us to everyone under the sun. They don't know what's going on. They didn't even know Poch was getting sacked, really. So they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Wait,
there is a lot to take with a pinch of salt. Yeah.
Exactly. So until the new manager gets announced, whether it's McKenna or Amorim or De Zerbi or whoever, until the new manager gets announced, let's just enjoy this time and be happy.
Sure.
If I may, Marshall, just before we go,
please.
I'm going to answer this one. They're actually going to talk about it now anyway, so I was actually going to answer this one. So, Gabriel, quickly, just to your point, yeah. You know, the end of the players were crying when Mourinho left the football club, right? They were literally in tears. At the end of the day, they are contracted to Chelsea Football Club. You know what I mean?
Not to Mauricio.
Not to Mauricio Pochettino. At the end of the day, it's also just down to once the new manager comes in, it's down to him to be able to create those relationships again and have good management skills. That's all it is. So for me,
my simple response to the players:
stop being bitches.
Do better. And then you keep going.
I mean, yeah.
How about as much as I blame Poch for a load of stuff, but he's not 100% thing. I never blame Poch for players missing chances. Never
Jackson, a few more goals.
Yeah. Even Palmer.
Conversations.
Even Palmer.
All right, chill out, man.
You know what I mean? All of them. So you know what? If you're taking more of your chances, he might have stayed. You know.
I want to also point out quickly,
Go ahead.
Ugo Chukwu. Can I say to you, remember, Marshall, me and you, we were having a fierce debate on this guy on the Wolves game when I was saying, why is he bringing him on? You know what I mean? And everything like that. And he got injured on the same game day that he just came back from injury. Do you not think now of this stuff that's been written?
Now it's a trend. Now there's a trend there. Now I can see it. But let's get into the tweets because they do go over some of that. Ladies and gentlemen, there's over 100 of you on YouTube, and I only see 34 likes. So unless you're happy unless you're upset that Mauricio Pochettino has left, then what the fuck, man? Smash up the likes. Listen, we're going into a new era of Chelsea, for better or for worse. We will discuss that, by the way. Second half of the show, we'll be dedicated to the managerial links. But, hey, just like what we told the players, finish your chances. If you wanted Poch to stay, finish your chances. Well, if you want good content on this channel, smash that like button. Because we're going to be really discussing
the
this.
like button to viewership is like Chelsea's big chance conversion rate at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Right? It's just
and don't make me pull out Baghdad Bali and pull out the conversion rate. Don't make me pull out the receipts.
If you're not going to smash the button, then we're just going to have to let Ahmed go.
I am leaving in 15 minutes actually. So.
Right, and it won't be by mutual consent. We don't
exactly. You'll get sacked, Ahmed. You'll get sacked, Ahmed.
What's the like target?
The like target?
Yeah,
80.
Oh, let's get to 80. Let's get to 80 likes.
80. Okay.
Right.
Hey, if we don't get to 80 likes, there'll be more reshame shots.
Oh my god!
Once we get to 80,
let's get into the tweets. So let's get into the tweets. So first tweet I have here is Chelsea argued that Pochettino needed too long for his drills to bear fruit. He clearly felt the opposite. Coupled that with opposing visions of footballing leadership structure and transfer plans, and Pochettino's exit was sealed. Then we have here from The Athletic, and this is the big stuff, ladies and gents, so buckle up. The Athletic inside piece. Despite praising him publicly, Pochettino privately questioned whether Enzo was destructive enough to be a number 6 or creative enough to be a number 8. You fucking bozo. But let's continue before I lose my head on that one. Inside details. Pochettino proposed that the club sign 2 experienced players he had worked with before to add some knowledge that request was denied. Continuing on, some people who observed the training sessions insist that the players were overworked, tasked with excessive amounts of high-intensity running. It is also claimed that the tendency to bring recovering players back into full training rather than adaptive training resulted in players re-injuring themselves. Wow, the truth comes out on the injury. And listen, we suspected it, but it wasn't solidified. This now gives us more ammunition as to why there were so many injuries, and partially why he wasn't the guy to move on with Chelsea. But let's continue. Chelsea insists there was collaboration. They decided not to sign Ansu Fati. Chelsea insists there was collaboration. They decided not to sign Ansu Fati on loan after Pochettino informed them he didn't want him. There was also Blahovic and so on and so forth, but we continue. Mauricio Pochettino felt midfield pair of Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo lacked the size and power for the Premier League. Yes, even though Caicedo did just fine at Brighton, but he lacked the size and power, according to you, Mauricio.
Marshall, this
key
makes
points.
Sense, by the way.
Real quick, we'll come back to it. So, key points of contention between Mauricio Pochettino and Chelsea, which led to him leaving the club. The head coach's willingness to fit in with the club imposed structure, initial skepticism over the £221.1 million midfield pairing of Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, the owner's desire for a coach who teaches football, training methods and club injury record, and Pochettino's sense that he was one of the few experienced operators in the building. All right, we already read this. Let's go on. The midfielder Mauricio Pochettino liked best was Conor Gallagher, who remains a prime candidate to be sold by Chelsea this summer. No duh. Mauricio Pochettino had proposed the signing of 2 experienced players. Okay, so this is all repeat stuff. And then under Mauricio Pochettino, it is claimed that the tendency to bring recovering players back into full rather than adaptive training, which too quickly resulted in re-injuries. Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley have been empowered by the owners to build a world-class squad and sporting infrastructure, and their success or failure in that endeavor will be judged over years rather than months or individual transfer windows. Then we go here. Chelsea's ownership and sporting leadership want a head coach who teaches football in the truest sense of the word, educating players and committed to a highly technical approach to the game in possession. So they want a possession coach that teaches football. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that approach, but I mean, Prime, you wanted to mention something, so I'll go ahead and give you the floor. Prime? The delay is crazy.
He's breathing. Remember last time?
I was honestly wasn't paying attention. I was doing something else. What did you say?
This guy. What did you want to say before? The floor is yours. Just finish saying what I was saying.
Sorry. You were talking about
You mentioned Ugarte.
one of the tweets, yeah, about Ugarte. Yes, the Enzo Caicedo picture.
Yeah, go for it.
About Mauricio felt the midfield of Enzo and Caicedo lacked size and power for the Prem, which makes sense because in the summer, people remember, our first choice we're looking at was Ugarte, not Caicedo. So again, Poch wanted control. We followed who he wanted, but we just weren't willing to give in to the crazy wage demands. Ugarte went to PSG. We then went for Caicedo. So he says he wants control. We followed what he wanted, but we weren't willing to pay the crazy wage demands.
I think what absolutely rattles me is the fact that this manager actually thought that Enzo Fernandez was not creative enough to be the number 8. Yet this player that he says is not creative enough led the league in key passes. Are you fucking kidding me?
What, this season or last season?
This season.
Oh, wow.
Did he?
I'm pretty
I
sure.
didn't know that's a league. I know that's for Chelsea, and
Maybe it was. I could be wrong then. Maybe it was for Chelsea, but I could have sworn it was a league.
We've seen so many times, even last season, by the way. Enzo creates a amount of good chances in that like box, that dangerous area, or to the wide areas where they potentially could cross it. But he does it pretty well, and I can understand that one. I don't know who he'd want. Gallagher doesn't do better than Enzo, by the way, and he likes Gallagher. I understand why he likes Gallagher, but he's not better creating Gallagher, so that doesn't make any sense with what Pochettino says there. But a lot of stuff what Pochettino says this season doesn't make a lot of sense for me. So,
but somehow, according to this clown, Gallagher is creative enough to be on number 10. Like, explain that one to me.
Oh my god, you fucking moron! Not you, Oliver. Fucking Poch, man. It just it frustrates me so much, and people were really trying to gaslight me into keeping this manager.
Anyway,
I'm not an alcoholic like you, Gabriel. 2, yes, I am optimistic we will hire the right manager. I've listed out my reasons why on Lewis's channel.
We'll get into the managerial appointments and all that as well, by the way, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
Just stay tuned and keep smashing those likes.
I'll explain later on when we get onto that. And 3, bring up the comment again, Marshall. What Gabriel said.
Oh my god, I gotta go all the way back. Hang on a second. This guy.
What did Gabriel say?
It's weird that Chelsea, I've seen it on Lewis's chat as well. People are coming at me for being positive. I'm usually the pessimistic one. So the fact of I'm thinking positively about this, maybe just listen, because I was right about Poch and people wanting to gaslight me. Maybe just listen. Maybe. Or whatever. We'll see.
Let's try to focus on the topic at hand. What were you going to say, Andrew? You had something you wanted to say.
No, it's just comments in the chat about one guy said we had injuries before, and it was like
Not
we
to
had
this
injuries.
extent.
We had injuries that happened on the pitch and they were to injury hit players anyway.
Bro,
Like a Kante, like a Loftus-Cheek, like a Pulisic, like a James, like a Chilwell, etc. Most of the injuries under this guy happened off the pitch in common, and then we found out he brought them back too early and re-injured them again. Okay, there's a tweet out today that one of the reasons that it shouldn't be held against him is that he didn't have enough time didn't have any time to train with Lavia. Then why put him on for 30 minutes in Palace if you didn't have enough time to train him? Then he gets injured and then he's out for the season. All right, it's
people.
And then he goes about this Enzo thing. Oh, I didn't know if he was a 6 or an 8. So why do you play him at a 10 or nearly left wing in some games? Why'd you do that? Do you know what I mean?
But going back, go ahead.
Right, it's just, and this is where we will go back to the directors and go, and even some of ourselves. Even if you did call him out early, no one was really questioning Poch when we really hired him. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It was like, okay, we'll see where they're going. We all basically didn't look back properly at PSG because we just thought it's PSG, it's a basket case club. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We thought that, and even like, oh yeah, but look what he did at Spurs. But then you're looking like, look at Harry Kane. Do you remember when Harry Kane used to always get injured during the season at Spurs in his early part?
He was guaranteed one injury every season.
Yeah, and then funny enough, as soon as Poch left, I can't remember Harry Kane being injured at all. Yeah, Dele Alli, that interview where he said a lot of things and brave what he said. But even during that time, when they asked him about Poch, he was like, at the end, it just wasn't, it just wasn't working. It was, it wasn't going in. And there's audio from Ricky Lambert, he's former Southampton player.
Oh, that's
paraphrasing. Abbreviate that. It's like, I went in to ask him. We just did a 90 minutes match. We're here doing all sort of drills and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yeah, we won't do that. And then the next day or two, he gives him full drills again. And he said he tried to break me, and he did break me. And that was a problem. Listen, it was on the directors. They had 2 months to vet, right?
Yeah.
The difference is, and I know Primer said this a lot. The difference is from this last summer to this summer is that we are finding out what they want to do. Last summer, we didn't really know what they wanted to do in terms of how they wanted to play, what coach they really wanted, stuff like that. This summer, they've leaked out to their press buddies what they want to do. Okay? Now they're on the clock. I do not want to be here next week still talking about us not having a manager.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I want it sewn up, ready to go. This summer's a busy one. Euros, Copa America, and some of our players are going to the Olympics. Yeah? So I need that done as soon as possible. Back to this guy. This guy I think he has, and I'm not joking when I say this, I think he set a lot of our players back at least a year in their career.
Oh, 100%. With all the injuries, 100%.
With the injuries, just the confusion about what to do, how to play. I don't know how good these players... When we kept saying, I don't know how good these players are because I don't think they're being coached... I said I don't think they're being coached well. Well, it looks like they weren't being coached well. So we're just fortunate his methods didn't bite Palmer, Caicedo, Jackson, and a couple of others. Because we ain't finishing 6 without them. You know what I mean? So...
You wanted to add something?
Oh, just on the Ricky Lambert thing, I recommend it, people go and listen to that. Andrew didn't even really do it justice. So to give the longer version, so this was after they played a game, they played 90 minutes. Some of the younger guys in the team were doing, I think he said half to 3/4 kind of a jog sprint sort of thing in training on the Monday, while him and a bunch of the older guys were doing 3/4 and above after they just played 90 minutes the day before. Him and one of the other players, senior players, went into the office to speak to Pochettino and said, "Listen, I understand what you're trying to do, but it's not really working. We're not at the fitness level we need to be, or we're not there yet. why don't we ease up to that level? He said, yeah, no problem. I can sort that. The week after, again on the Monday, they again just played 90 minutes. By the way, with the Monday training session, the first one, they were doing what he called horseshoes, 12 of them. On the Monday afterwards, he made Lambert and the older players do 24 at the same pace of the previous week. So double.
Hey, Marshall, I've got a clip if you want to watch that and play it.
Sure. What clip is it?
Of what Scott's talking about, I'm saying.
Yeah, send it to me and then I'll watch it for sure. One thing I wanted to point out here is obviously these points here. The training methods of the clubs, it is so shocking to me that, you know, going back to the whole Enzo and Caicedo point, right? It is so shocking to me that this manager said that about Enzo, but continued to play him for 6 months with a hernia. And was okay with him taking injections to the point where it no longer worked and he couldn't finish his season so that he could, like, it's just so hypocritical. It's like, if you think he's not this player, then why play him? If he has an hernia injury, have him get his hernia surgery. It's like, to me, it is so bizarre, and this guy is such a flip-flop and an absolute just joke of a manager. Like, I think if he had been playing the football like he was playing towards the end, we would have been in a totally different position. We would have been arguably competing for top four. It just the season would have gone so different, and I think even the recruiters would have been right in their decision to recruit Pochettino had he actually implemented what he did at the end from the beginning, which he did do in the preseason. I think they would have been justified in their selection. But he fucked around. Then when pressure came about and he learned that, he wasn't going to be given the time, decides, let me actually get serious, and I'm going to get mad because I can't, try to mimic Guardiola or whatever the fuck he was trying to do. Then, Jesus Christ, I can't even. I'm at a loss.
It's because, in preseason, this system, it was like the end of the season type of system it was. But I don't know why. Well, I do know why he did do that at the start of the season. It's because he had Colwell at left back, where you couldn't do what Cucurella does, invert it like that. You just couldn't do that. He had Chilwell at left wing. You ain't no Maatsen at left wing, for example. Maatsen is a way better, going forward player than Chilwell if you want a full back there for whatever reason. And stuff like that. I think that's where he's fucked up with it. He just played too many people at their position, and that's why maybe he couldn't play his system what he wanted. So I understand what that. He felt like he's forced to use Enzo. I don't believe that. I don't think ownership will say, you got to play Enzo. Maybe
even though he's injured, you have to play Enzo. Even though he's injured, I think.
That's where it doesn't make any sense to me. That's why I don't know. Poch doesn't make any sense to me half the time. So it's trying to analyze why he felt Pochettino, not Pochettino.
The players wanted him to stay because he didn't hold them accountable. That's why.
Seems like it.
He didn't hold them accountable. It's like if you were younger and had this, it's like you had a fun uncle who used to take you out, fun art, whatever, take you out, arcade or something like that, or to cinema. You let you get all the, whatever, high on sugar. Then he drops you back at your parents and you throw up and they've got to clean up all the mess. Not accountable.
Also, can you do me a favour? Can you bring up Vic's last comment? This is factually untrue, by the way, because every single player that's played in the last 5 games in terms of started, because we basically started the same team every game outside the last game because Mudryk was on concussion protocol, has been available. Bar Chalobah and Badiashile, where we had Disasi and Colwell and Silver all available for most of the season. So yes, you could have played this system for most of the season.
Yeah, what are you talking about, Vic?
We could have either played
he couldn't
Enzo
play
instead of Gallagher.
Marco Corella.
We either could have played Enzo instead of Gallagher because Gallagher has to cover way less kilometers, way less distance in this system. So you don't need his energy, quote unquote, as much because there's less ground to cover because we have the defensive shape. Or worst comes to worst, you put Enzo in the 10, as much as it ain't great, you put Enzo in the 10, you put Palmer on the right and drop Madueke. Cool. There you go. Problem fixed. You could have played the exact same system, but you chose not to.
And it's not like Chalobah was pivotal to that formation change. You could have had a Buddy Sheila there. You could have had a Disasi there. You could have had there was other CBs you could have picked from. Marco Corello wasn't injured for the whole season. He could have been the inverting left back the whole time.
Yep.
Gallagher was here for most. Like, what are you actually talking about, Vic?
I think he missed a 6-week period from a broken toe or something like that.
Outside that, ankle. It was an ankle injury.
Oh yeah, ankle.
Last season he was fit.
Here's the thing: how can our attack be flowing once Palmer went to a 10 when we're one of the highest big chances missed teams in the league? Yeah, even through the entire season. Also, let's just put it there. I've lost my train of thought again. I'm so sorry. He had these players, most of these players. Even if he just actually done this change around the Burnley, Sheffield United, Brentford games, we are finishing top 4. I'm convinced of it. We are finishing top 4. Yeah, and I'm glad that they actually took the whole the entire season and weren't seduced by some of this flip-flop fan base. Oh, he just clicked after 5 games. He just clicked. Oh, shit.
Listen, we have some audio here. The audio you guys are actually speaking on. So let me actually put this on screen. Let me hear what is being said. Let's hear what's being said here. Boom.
Oh, what was I going to say?
Go ahead.
No, carry on. It'll come to me.
You remember a train of thought and I forgot it. Let's go ahead and listen to this.
Oh no! Do you know when he said? Oh, in the chat, someone said he couldn't bench and wasn't allowed because the owners wanted him. Then why did he play Gallagher? Because surely
and Chalobah.
Surely if the board was so controlling, why would they allow him to play Gallagher all the time? They were trying to sell him. Surely they want to make sure he's not injured or something like that.
It makes sense.
Dude,
that's what I mean. Every time I can unravel every time someone says anything that tries to defend Poch or go against some of this doesn't make sense. It's so easy to unravel. Do you know what I mean? It's just, but yeah. Go on.
Rainbow the God, I swear you have an extra chromosome. You are absolutely obsessed with talking about Enzo. So you can hold.
I know that's the problem. You know when someone says
you say is Enzo this, Enzo that.
You know people who other Chelsea fans or someone that says, oh, if you support Enzo or if you defend him a bit, you're an Enzo-sexual. No, the Enzo-sexuals are the ones who don't like Enzo because they're the only ones who keep mentioning him. They're the only ones. The people that defend Enzo, they don't mention him at all. They don't even bring him up.
Dude,
it's always them. Enzo's not played for us for the past month and a bit.
I know.
Like, who's he bringing up? Who's he bringing up?
If Rainbow had a channel, it'd be casually Enzo. It'd just be all about Enzo. Well, let's listen.
Why I'm a secret Enzo lover. That would be his first stream.
Hey. Go ahead, Prime, and then I gotta play this audio.
Poch had a job when Enzo was playing. Enzo stops playing, Poch gets sacked. I'm saying maybe Enzo
That's true.
That's not a bad point.
All
right, let's hear this audio.
It wasn't the Fridays, which was a shock. It was the Mondays when I've played 90 minutes. We would come in, and to everyone else, it was just like a 3/4 kind of pace, like a jog to a 3/4 kind of pace. We used to do 12 horseshoes, but to me, it was 3/4 and above, and I was like, "What on earth is going on here?" I just I couldn't cope. So I thought it was me and Josh Houlivel that actually had the bottle to go into his room and pull him to one side, and very respectful, and just say, and I said, Mauricio, listen, we understand what you're trying to do, but I just think you're pushing us too much on a Monday, and you just need to calm it down. We're not used to it. Maybe build it up a bit later. And Mauricio was dead polite. He said, yes, that's fine. I understand. Okay. and we shook hands, went out, and we went back to the lads, made up, thinking, yeah, just done it for you boys. Next Monday, going to be sorted. So played the game, 90 minutes again, come in Monday. Not only did we do 12, we done 24 runs. 24 runs, and I just knew. I was laughing. I was running around laughing, almost crying, and I knew what he was doing. He was breaking me, and he did. He broke me. It wasn't a Friday.
Yeah, that's not very good. And then there's a little bit of Kyle Walker, real quick.
Yeah, I was about to say Kyle Walker's one's even more like.
Yeah. Give me 1 second.
By the
Let
way,
me just
that's
play this
bullshit.
real quick. Yeah, 1 second. Let me just do this one, the Kyle Walker one.
From going from the intensity that I went at Tottenham to Man City, even now, it's completely different. You know, training's definitely not as hard as what it was at Tottenham. It's more mentally, you know, of where he wants you to be in certain places and how you're meant to read the game. From going from the intensity that.
Wait, fair enough. What were you going to say, Scott?
Can you?
I was just going to say.
Just bring Gabriel's A's last comment, and Scott, you go ahead. I just want to address it afterwards. That's all.
Yeah, to me, the thing with Ricky Lambert's bullshit, personally. Like, I said this on Lewis's channel as well. Like, I would prefer, if I'm in Ricky Lambert's position or one of the other players' position, I'd prefer him to just say, no, I'm not changing things, because then I know where I stand. But for this guy to say, yeah, no worries, like, for him to smile and go, like, yeah, no worries, I'll change it, and then go double. No, if I'm a player like in that position, I'm looking at him funny. Like, I'm looking at him funny, going like, "Is this the type of thing you're doing? Is this the type of thing you're on?" Like, I honestly, and maybe this comes down to the type of guy I am. You'd have to convince me not to hand in a transfer request and tell this guy to go fuck himself.
And just to that Gabriel A's comment, not that one.
The Wenger one.
Yeah, the Wenger one. We're talking now. We are talking mid to late 90s, when even the fitness in English football was not at the level as it is now.
Right.
You still had footballers going after a training session, going to have a fag and a couple of pints after the game, after training sessions. If you read it, that's what we're talking about. Okay, this is totally different to what we're talking about. Poch, he's over training players in terms of he's going above. We always talk about. Remember, we always talk about players in the red. Poch is doing that in training, and what we're finding out, he's also not helping players that are coming back from injury and changing their training schedules to adapt to the injuries they're coming back from. He's putting them full on training. So please don't do this like Wenger. It's totally not even the same stratosphere. All right, not even the same. That's why we didn't do a lot during the 90s, because we didn't have this good training approach to training as the Italians and the Spanish did.
Yep.
And stuff like
The only manager, I was going to say, the only English manager in that time frame who was trying to go down the Wenger route with the training with Allardyce. And that tells you everything. No one was going to listen to Sam Allardyce.
Right.
Like, in regards to at the top level. Because he was the first English manager to look into like the nutrition and the better ways of training and data and that sort of thing. As much data as you could look into back then. He was the first person in England to really do that to that degree. But then no one really listened until Wenger came across, because he was doing it at a bigger level, a more mainstream level.
And so Alex was doing what Wenger was doing with Manchester United, and they were winning multiple titles. He changed after Wenger came in. He's put Hullet there. We might have changed a little bit here and there, but not as what Wenger did. Wenger changed the whole philosophy. You know, the way the players' diets were, because the players' diets were literally, like I said, in the canteen, they weren't eating healthily. They were having like a full breakfast or something like that. Do you know what I mean? For training. I mean, that's what it was like, honestly.
Also, big up Surfer for getting me demonetized by not saying cigarette. I'm just kidding.
Oh, sorry.
I wondered why he said that. Now I understand.
I was laughing internally. No, you're fine. I'm totally joking. We're not demonetized. We're not demonetized. I wanted to ask Scott. I want to ask you a question. What do you think the owners mean with the third bullet there? The owners' desire for a coach who teaches football. What exactly do they mean by teaches football? That's something that's sticking out like a sore thumb for me.
You want the answer? Go and listen to what Carl Walker just said again. That. It's been highlighted many times before, not just at Chelsea, but Tottenham as well, and at PSG by fans and media alike, that when it comes to training, Poch takes a very, blasé, potentially, attitude towards tactical training. So I think it's that. I think it's a case of they want someone who's actually going to teach football in a sense of like all aspects. So the mental side, the physical side does matter 100%. You can't have players unfit. You can't have fitness level be down, especially in a league that we play in. But it can't be all fitness. There has to be, as with everything. Thanos had a point. It just went a weird way about it. Life is about balance. That's the same with football. It can't be all of one side. It can't be all of another. It has to be balanced. Same way you can't have a bunch of technical players in your team with no pace and power, in this league especially, but you also can't have all pace and power and no technique. It's to be a balance. And that's the thing, and I think that's where it is. I think that they're after, and obviously this is all just me speculating, but I think they're after someone who is going to teach all aspects in terms of, you have someone like the Mudryk, who his mental side is dreadful, awful, atrocious, one of the worst of the club, if not the worst. So that's what needs to be taught with him. He doesn't need to be taught the physical side. He has the physical attributes. He goes to the gym all the goddamn time, based on what we've seen in training videos. Like, he doesn't need that. He needs the mental and tactical side of the game. Yeah, he needs the tactical side and the mental side. You teaching him the physical side does nothing. What are you trying to make him into a bodybuilder?
Marshall,
this isn't the WPF.
You want an example of this third coach desire for a coach who teaches football? Do you guys remember?
No.
I can't remember what the girl's name is, but she interviewed Poch, I think might have been after the Villa game, or maybe it was the game after, but she interviewed Poch about Correa inverting into midfield, this tactical he's made, it's working or whatever. And basically, Poch's reply was that it's about the feeling and players understanding and how they feel and yada yada yada. He didn't explain anything tactically. And I remember on Twitter someone spliced that with Pep Guardiola and Thomas Tuchel when they've been asked questions about things that have happened in game and how they've been able to explain things clearly and concisely. Because that's the thing, you can have an idea of something in your head, but if you cannot explain it properly and get your message across, then it's not going to work. I don't believe Poch has a tactical understanding bone in his body anyways, but that's what they're talking about, a coach who can actually explain things to players and break it down. That's been the biggest problem I've been talking about basically all season. Like, Poch has been complaining about transfers and how they're saying players and yada yada yada. Just coach the players you have. Our squad has been good enough to get top four. The fact that we've been so poor basically all season and we still managed to finish fifth, a few points off fourth, shows one, how good our squad is, and two, how bad this league is. If we sacked Poch when Palace appointed Glasner and we brought Glasner in, we would comfortably have finished fourth, for example.
Just on a side note,
go for it.
Just on a side note, you might see online stuff about McKenna. That's all.
Yeah, I'm trying to build up that portion of the show next.
Sorry. I should have put it in private.
You're fine. I'm working on it right now.
Thank you. People and that's why I've been complaining about him, all season. That's why in certain games where things look like they work, I remember Andrew and we had this discussion after the Middlesbrough game, second leg, and I was like, I'm not going to really give him much credit for this game, because anytime something has worked this season, it seems like a fluke, because he's never really carried it on. The only time he's carried it forward was post the Aston Villa game, and even then, against Nottingham Forest, he dumped it out the window at halftime. He dumped out this inverted, Gray being inverted at half in the second half. So Poch had.
He did it. He did that. Prime, he did the same at Brighton as well. He did it half and half, even during the halves.
There's
left back. He was in the middle, back again, back again. Couldn't make up his mind.
There's no one can. There's nothing to explain and defend him. And you know what actually might have even helped in being able to sack him, because all season Poch has been complaining about the squads, or well, not all seasons, but since maybe November.
Is he buffering for you? Is it just
not good enough?
He's been stuck in the position.
I think you need to.
I'm not moving.
Refresh your camera.
Yeah, I think it's the camera or something. It's making it.
Yeah. Just
finish. You're in and out. You're in and out. Yeah.
Okay.
Is my camera off now?
Cool.
Yeah.
Camera's off now. Yeah.
Anyways, since November, Poch has been complaining about lack of experience in the squad and he needs certain signings, etc. I think what really played a part in sacking him was the fact of we finished fifth, a few points away from fourth. If we finished eighth this season, or we finished 10th, I think Poch would still be in a job, because that would have proved his point all along of the squad's just not good enough. Players aren't good enough, more experienced. The fact we finished so close to top four probably helped in the owners or Egg Polly saying that you're just not good enough because this squad's been good enough all along. You're the problem. So this 5-game purple patch, people want to praise Poch for. That's what in my opinion, I think that played a part in sacking him. Which is what.
Well, that's the thing. I think people need to realize too, the wording that's coming out right now and the way you're framing it is that we sacked him. Apparently, it was mutual. He walked away. He wasn't. I in my head, I strongly believe that the owners did plan to give him a chance into next season, but now that he decided, because there was I gotta find the tweets, but there's so many tweets out there, ladies and gents. Pardon me, but there's a tweet out there saying that he decided he wasn't what's best fit for the model that they were looking for.
Nothing's ever mutual in life, though. Someone has to initiate something, surely.
But you don't think Pochettino was trying to egg on the owners to leave? Because it looked like towards the end, the things that he was saying, he was getting very brazen with his speech and kind of just putting the writing on the wall for himself. It's almost like he wanted to get sacked, to be honest.
I do actually agree with you on that, because what Poch was saying was quite mad for the last... Before his good streak of 5 wins in a row, whatever, he was saying some mad shit. I do remember we actually reviewing what he's saying. He looked like he's just going crazy. He looks like his foot's out the door already. So maybe it is kind of mutual, but also what Prime said, it did show this team should get top 4. By the way, this team should have got top 4. The
100%,
shit done this season, it's not good enough. And I'm not saying whoever get this next manager is going to be our answers, because I don't know what manager we're getting, and the managers we're linked to me are not that great either. So
we'll talk about the managers very soon.
We could get top 4 next season with no extra players, by the way, and I fully believe that.
Yeah, it's depending on how other teams work in transfers like Liverpool and Man United. I'm still wondering about, but right now, is everybody's team say the same? Yes, I fully agree. Because there's not a whole lot of good teams in this league. There's Arsenal, obviously they're a good team. There's Man United. No, not Man United. Man City, obviously very good. Liverpool are decent. And then the rest are just bang average or shit.
Well, Liverpool are a question mark with their new manager. We need to see how.
I
agree.
That's why I'm annoyed, because I think just those 2 games, man, we could have got top 4 if we beat Sheffield and Burnley. If we beat them, we would have got it on points.
Those 2 though, you've got the Nottingham Forest game as well. You've got the Bournemouth draw. There are more than a handful of results where
I'm just talking about the really bad games. I thought drawing to Sheffield is just unexcusable. A 20th place team.
Yeah,
for fun.
This is what makes it inexcusable though, because you've had more than a handful of opportunities to set us on course to meet the targets, and you failed. So you can't excuse any of those losses.
I'm pretty sure the owners actually said top 4 basically as well to get top 4 for Pochettino at the start of the season.
Well, initially they did, but then they almost to take the pressure off him. They started briefing a lower target for just European football. And then when we started getting good again at the end, then they brought it back up to Europa League as a must. So they kind of tried to alleviate the pressure for him, and he threw it back in their face.
Does anyone on the panel think that I think it's safe to say that there's definitely going to be a lot more scrutiny on recruitment and the board now. There's definitely going to be a lot more scrutiny on Win Stanley and Lauren Stewart now, considering they have to appoint the next manager. But does anyone think that they actually were justified in their pick of Mauricio Pochettino, but that Mauricio Pochettino fucked them over?
I'm saying no, not justified. And I know people are going to bring up the point that Chelsea fans were fine with the appointment at the beginning, but we're not the supposed experts of the sporting world and stuff. We're football fans. It's not our job to know some of these nuances about who these guys hire. That's the job of the sporting directors, to find out the extra details that we don't have access to. So with that, it's not acceptable. And as you see through some of the evidence that we've provided already in the stream, a lot of this stuff is a reoccurring theme from club to club with Pochettino.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
I mean, I did. Sorry.
The way they went through their process of supposedly the names we went through and interviewed, and the stories coming out from them, whether you agree with them or not. I think Potter is at the time we all thought was the best of who was left. Mm-hmm. Essentially, we've been through. Remember, we interviewed Enrique, we interviewed Nagelsmann. We interviewed anyone else? There was
PSG
Enrique Nagelsmann.
Yeah, Enrique. I said Enrique. I said Nagelsmann. There was a list going around Postecoglou and company. I think we were just. I think what Poch has got fantastic PR. In terms of like last year with us, in terms of like going, okay, yeah, all right, still not, like we said earlier, it's like, yeah, but PSG are sort of a mad club. Do you know what I mean? Irony, but yeah, there's no way. That's when I have when people go, oh yeah, well, Poch. He dropped in. He didn't. He wasn't given enough. Blah blah blah. He knew what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. He knew the players we were going to get. He knew the situation. I have no sympathy whatsoever for him. But he went from day one. He went after the preseason. He just went totally 180. And then I swear he was only here as long as because of the cup runs. I swear. So I think if we were knocked out the cups earlier, I think he goes earlier. Because we were like basically 10th, 11th for like basically about 3/4 of the season, essentially. And I think without those cup runs, I don't think he's here as long. I really don't. I mean, I would have got rid of him even with I would have got rid of him. Man United game away, I flipped. I would have got rid of him then. I would have got rid of him League Cup final after League Cup final. I actually would have got rid of him before that because I was like going, get me someone else to get us to play in the League Cup final and with a better chance of winning, but it didn't happen.
Andrew, he could have got sacked after the Man United game. He could have got sacked after we lost 4-1 to Liverpool. But again, that was too close to the cup final, so they had to give him the time. I remember telling people, saying to Chelsea fans as well, like, he's fortunate with the cup runs he's had.
Yeah.
Because last season, Potter had to play Man City twice, and he got knocked out. If we had to play Man City, we don't have this cup run. He gets sacked much earlier. But because he had the cup runs, and we got to the final and we were unlucky because of the bad finishing, he was given more time and he was afforded it. it's just
Yeah.
everything has just been so lucky for him this season, and he still
You
got.
got to remember. You got to remember the League Cup one is we barely. I mean, we got past. We scraped. We beat Blackburn. Scraped past Brighton, I think. Beat Newcastle and penalties. There was another. The Wimbledon game atrocious. That 2-1 win at home.
The Middlesbrough game was
we lost
awful.
the first leg. Lost the first leg of the semi-final against Borough. And you look at the FA Cup games. I mean, who we barely scraped past Leeds.
Leicester.
We barely scraped past Leicester. If you think about it,
we beat Villa 3-0, but they
beat Villa, but in a replay. Yeah. I mean, you're right. I can't remember just putting. I think Vic said, "Oh no, they were never gonna sack him." I've got to tell you, I think they would have sacked him if he didn't have the cup runs. I swear they would have.
They weren't going to sack. They said that last season about Potter. They weren't going to sack him, but things got so bad that they had to.
We were in the middle of a Champions League run. He got past Dortmund and they sacked him.
Things were so bad this season, but because we had the 2 cup runs, things look different. Take out the 2 cup runs, for example. There are so many moments in the season where he should have gone. And I keep telling people he's fortunate with the squad he's had. If he had last season's squad, look how bad we would have been. Like,
it would have been a relegation battle. That's genuinely true.
Yes. But people keep telling me, "Oh, Potter's worse than Potter." As bad as I don't rate Potter, but he is much better than Potter. Potter is so bad. People truly don't understand.
But that's again, that's the other thing too, and it goes back to that original point that we discussed, which is what do they mean by a manager that teaches football? Now it makes so much more sense. It's translation, a manager that can instill a system. Because these players, we said it multiple times, these players, when they go out in that field, so many times, they don't know what the hell they're doing. It's just expression and moments of brilliance. And don't get me wrong, these players had plenty of moments of brilliance this season. That's why our goal tally is so high. These players have had great moments. But, oh my God, if there was a system, how much better would Mudryk have been this season if he had some type of guidance, some type of teaching, being taught, like, here, this is the type of runs you want to make. This is what... Instead, he's been made to do the Gaycon test, like, over and over and over again instead of being taught the tactics of football or the tactics of this is... Like, I'm so curious as to how often they actually sat down and watched tape and rewatched their games.
Yeah. And that's why I kept telling people, as much as people kept slandering the likes of Mudryk, people know I don't rate Gallagher, for example, but I feel sorry for these guys. These guys are at, if Caicedo, if Enzo, for example, who's this amazing world-class talent, is look bad, then Mudryk, who is maybe talented but has no brain, is going to look awful. I feel sorry for Mudryk. I feel sorry for these guys. I feel sorry for Jackson. Like, I feel sorry for these guys because they've had no real system to play and everything's been freestyle.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it's hard to develop consistency when and by the way, the guy who's meant to be in charge, the leader, your manager, non-existent. People talk about lack of experience, that Silva's not playing well, Sterling's not playing well, our experienced players are not good. Our experienced manager is not good either.
It's just it's really so fucking frustrating and infuriating to me.
By the way, I think we now see, we kind of knew this to an extent, but with all this focus, we now see what the emphasis on experienced players is, because he doesn't want to teach young players football.
Thank you, and that's what I that's how I interpreted that all season long. I said it from the beginning. I think he wants experienced players because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He wants the experienced players to fucking, do the work for him, do the teaching for him, bail him out, and it just goes to show, and it's just so infuriating. I'm so glad this manager's gone. I can't believe, like, after reading all this, I can't believe that I sat here even for a week or for a month that it lasted, and said, "All right, well, I'm willing to give him next season." God damn it, I wish he had been sacked after Man United. After hearing all this, I wish he had been sacked after Man United, because I feel like any manager interim, you could have brought in Frank Lampard. I mean this. You could have brought in Frank Lampard, and I swear Frank Lampard probably would have gotten us a better result than this guy. That's insane. The fact that I'm saying that is so freaking insane. Like, I'm just so, I've lost my head. Like,
Marshall, as one of the leaders of the Poch Out Brigade, you're not forgiven. But, you know, we appreciate your apology.
yeah, well, I've been Poch out since Man United, and it has not changed. But I was,
Which
well,
Man United again?
Poch can change my mind next season. And
Which Man United
this guy's a
game
bum.
Poch out?
First one.
Wait.
Is it? Can I just say? Can I just
hold
say? No. It's very important.
Receipts
I'm
are
about to
there.
say. No, it's very important. What I'm about to say. Everyone in the chat saying he's gone now. Move on. This is the first time this channel has got to react to Poch out. It's
Yeah,
still a
fuck
big deal.
off. Look
We've
at the
got
name
all
of the
this-
You know
stream.
about yesterday.
We've got all this stuff that
Eat a
leaked today.
fucking dick.
We've got all this stuff that leaked today, okay? And some of us haven't. Some of us have reacted to it, and some of us haven't. So please stay and
Sorry,
watch.
I have a job.
Leave a like or come back when we're finished and scroll forward. Do you know what I mean? Just
Sorry, I was working until 9:30 at night last night, ladies and gents. I was thinking about doing a little bit of an emergency stream just to have initial reactions, but I said, you know what? Let me get it all out. And I'm glad I did, because now I'm seeing some of these stories that just came out from The Athletic, by the way. By the way, when Matt Law said what he said, I took the initial part of it, but I took a lot of it with a pinch of salt, because I know he likes to be sensational when it comes to his writing. I waited for these articles to have a more sensible reaction, and I think I am 100% in the right to react the way I want to react now, because everything that I thought he was doing in fucking training is now true. He was, or in the dressing room or at Chelsea was true. He had no fucking tactics. He was injuring our players, and he was just bitching and moaning about players. Oh my God, what are you going to say, Prime? And then I'm going to move on. And ladies and gents, before I do move on to the managerial picks, we are 5 away from the target of 80 likes. So if you haven't liked the stream yet, ladies and gents, please smash that like button. It helps so much.
I mean, it's amazing. It's like when we were on Lewis's channel, and we were all just reacting to the tweets, the Athletic and stuff flooding in, and I was just like, it's as if they've been watching Casually FC, Lewis's channel, Ahmed's channel, etc. all season, and they just made a shorthand of all the things we've been saying about Pochettino. Literally word for word. It's beautiful. And all the people who are complaining about us talking about this, I had to suffer for a year with Poch. So you guys can suffer for a 2-hour plus stream.
plus new stuff's been leaked today. So
Yeah, and guess what? If you're tired of talking about the managerial links, well, you can tune off, because we're about to talk about the managerial links thoroughly and in depth, because that's what we do here at Casually FC.
Oh, I don't care. You guys think I'm annoying at reach.
You're so cruel, Logic. You're so cruel.
I never stop.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah.
That is so mean.
I mean, he's not even here. That's the worst part.
I know.
So, hey, if you're on Ahmed's channel and you want to watch the second half of the stream, come over to the stream, because if Ahmed's not going to be here, I'm not going to babysit his channel either. So, Ahmed, you're going to have to hold that. But I gave you an hour and a half of content for free, Ahmed. So, you can thank me. But, ladies and gents, before we go over and transition into the next part of the stream, which is talking about the manager